200 subscribers. What have I learned from this experience? This has been a journey that I've been taking for about 2 years now, and I have finally reached the milestone of 200 subscribers. Now, this isn't the biggest milestone by any means. Quite frankly, it's not my most important milestone, but it is a milestone that I still recognize, and it's a milestone that I'm still very proud of. And I realized that, there are kids my age, reaching 1,000 subscribers, stuff like that. But, I'm glad that I'm at least at 200 subscribers because it still, signals me a big journey that I've taken and a big journey that I'm still on, right? I am still on this YouTube journey and I'm still growing, and basically I just wanted to share what I've learned over the 2 years that I've been doing this, and basically kind of give some insights. Now, the kind of main thing I learned is that YouTube is very hard, right? It's obviously not everybody will understand it, but when you make 5 videos and none of them do well, all of them do like 2 views each, it's really hard to keep going, right? That's one of the things. You have to love what you do to some extent. You have to be able to make videos even if, the odds are against you, like totally against you. And you have to be kind of open to the process of building yourself up and then, destroying yourself. And that's basically, in my experience, what YouTube has been like. It's just a continuous process of, YouTube building you up. You get a video that, does, for me, if a video gets like 500 views, that's a really successful video, right? That's a video that I kind of say, oh, okay, this works. Because the rest of them get like 20 views. So essentially, I get a video like that. Maybe next video is also like that, and you get all excited. You start checking your analytics more, and then you make the next video, and you think, okay, this video is great. I took what I learned from those videos, I put it into this video. This video, I changed some things, but this video is just perfect. And then you upload it, and you upload it, and it gets like 10 views, and you check your analytics, and you realize that it got 10 views because YouTube suggested that video to 5,000 people, and the click-through rate is like 0.5%. Average view duration is 10 seconds. Yeah, right. And that video just completely fails, falls out of the ground, completely gets destroyed. And, you went from, being successful to being a total loser again. So I think for me, that's also an experience that I think I need, or at least I need that. I hope, it doesn't really happen to me again because whenever a video did well, I was always scared to make the next one, and I was always scared of the next one flopping. And when it happens to you over 10 times, or happens to you a lot, you kind of start realizing, hey, that's part of the process. You can always bounce back though, and it gets rid of the stress. But in general, my YouTube journey has been more of finding my true type of content, which I'm still trying to do. And that's basically, I went from silent Fallout 4 videos to trying to kind of do Mr. Beast style videos with really shitty equipment, and then I kind of started doing Tiny Glade videos, long play videos, which are basically ASMR videos. And those are the videos that by far still have done the best on my channel, but those are the videos that I hated making the most, right? Most mainly because it took like 3 hours to make a video. It also took really, it was really hard to make a good building, right? I mean, if you're building something and you know that people are going to be kind of watching what you're building without any cuts, without any speed ups, it's kind of stressful, right? And it's also the fact that I couldn't share any of my opinions. I couldn't speak. I think speaking for me as a person is one of the most important things because I really like speaking to people and expressing my opinions. Now, obviously, I'm a very introverted guy, right? I mean, I don't go outside much, but I really like speaking with people that I'm comfortable with. In this case, I'm speaking online, which is a bit different, but it's online. So I really just enjoy sharing my thoughts, my opinions, and as much as obviously I can say the wrong things sometimes, or offensive things or stuff like that, or the right things sometimes. This is just a journey, and I'm not trying to put a mask on. That's also something I realized that the worst thing I can do is put some sort of mask on. That's also something that I had with the Tiny Glade videos. I just knew that my audience, the people who were watching me, were definitely had this false impression of who I am and what this channel is and who is making these videos. And because that guy was just that non-offensive, totally like cutie, stuff like that. And I just kind of realized that that's the worst thing you can do is to put on a mask and try to be somebody else, and that's also in terms of your content, right? I realized that trying to be like Mr. Beast, let's say, or another content creator, while it's good to take inspiration, it's always great to get inspired from other creators, or aspire to be like the creators you admire. It's never the best idea to completely just replicate that content creator, or just do something that's not you just to get views, because essentially, even if you make content, like I was at the beginning of my YouTube journey, whenever I was contemplating starting my channel, I was watching all those videos, online gurus who were like how to get 1,000 subscribers in a month, or how to make money on YouTube, essentially, right? I was trying to be very entrepreneurial, and I really just wanted to kind of make money on YouTube, but I realized that I did not want to make AI slop, or just slop in general, or capitalize off of shorts, or make short kind of movie clips, stuff like that, or share clips of streamers with Subway Surfers in the background, because I just realized, hey, if I'm going to create something, I might as well create something cool, something I'm proud of. And that's why I just started a proper YouTube channel, just started creating proper content. And while part of my motivation still is money, I'm going to be honest, it's not all my motivation, right? I mean, whenever I get a positive comment, or whenever I get to speak with a person, or engage with the community, it's always just a very pleasant experience, and it's something that I really aspire to. And also, YouTube gives me a platform to voice my opinions, right, in a very public manner, which is something you don't get when you're speaking to a friend. Because, like, if you're speaking to a friend, what you say, you may say the most genius thing ever, but that thing will still be with your friend. But if you put it on YouTube, you kind of immortalize it, right? And that's also something I've learned, is that you also got to be careful on YouTube, right? You can't be necessarily too you have to be careful with the TOS, right? You can't put too much copyright. You have to be careful in what you post, because there a lot of channels get banned and all of the content gets removed. So basically, your whole diary of you, your personality, completely gone. In this new age where we have artificial intelligence, and somebody can just take a lot of clips of your voice and stuff and completely replicate you. I think it's important to kind of build up a library of yourself, so that in the future, whenever you do die, or cease to exist, a I would say a replica of you can still exist. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get into the philosophy of that, but I just think that making a diary, not a diary necessarily, but just a big, like, let's take Moist Critical, Penguin Zo, or Penguin Zero. That's Charlie. It's a content creator. He's a guy, and if you look at his YouTube channel, you can learn so much about him. You can there's so much content of him. I think it's very fulfilling to have that as a person, to have so much just content that people can just kind of talk with you. I guess real. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but yeah. And in terms of YouTube and subscribership, one thing I learned is that it's really important to remind people to subscribe, but it's also important to be genuine. I made a Technoblade video recently, where I celebrated Technoblade's birthday, and I in that video specifically did not put any call outs to my channel. I specifically did not say subscribe to my channel. I also didn't really say subscribe to Techno, but I only put that in the description. But that video by far has gained me the most subscribers, in terms of my recent videos. So I think it's really important to just create generally great content, that people admire, and not entirely focus on doing the call to action. But I think it's also kind of important. But from 200 subscribers, I've learned that it's just make content you love, and not everybody has the ability to make 3 videos, gain 10,000 subs, and win. Basically, that's very rare, right? And the thing with those instances is that you only see the people who make it, but you don't see the large amount of people who who make like 100 or 200 videos or 300 videos, and remain at, let's say, 200 subscribers, right? Those are the people you don't really get to see. So I think it's very important to kind of just go your own path. I think it's very important to accept that each person is different. Each person has a different level of charisma. Each person has a different level of success. Because let's say I had continued with my Tiny Glade content, probably by now I would have had, like, I don't know, like 500 subscribers. Right, I would have been much more successful. But the content, it wasn't for me, right? So I think it's really important to just kind of create a personal brand. And by personal brand, like, really create a personal brand. Because I think what also people value is originality, and I believe, myself, that once I kind of mastered this unique content that I'm making, which my content is not all that unique. I think the unique part is what I say, what I do, kind of those things. But the content itself, it's not nothing. Like, there's this guy who's doing a podcast anywhere where he's like speaking about Hamlet in a lift, or the Shrek movie, or whatever. Now that is unique content. My content, it's unique, but it's not that unique, right? It's not that pungent, I guess, right? So I think it's really important to just kind of be yourself, and not really look at others' success. I think it's important to just take people on the platform, creators you adore, you love, and take whatever feature you want from their videos and put them into your videos, right? And that's kind of the thing. But I think that it's also, you need to learn to appreciate the true scale of your subscribers. Because let's say, I mean, 200 subscribers, that's 200 people, you know 200 people who have seen my content. They have deemed it worth something, and they have deemed my channel worth something enough to press a button and subscribe. And by pressing that button, they basically kind of say, "Hey, I like what you're doing." Right? It's not just a like. It's like, it's not just a like on a specific video. It's a like on your whole channel. It's just, I think people get too obsessed with numbers. Like, oh, this guy has 1 million subs. That means my 200 subs is nothing. No, I think that looking at small amounts of subscribers, it's very important. Because that's the original community. That's the people who, like, who are the OGs, I guess. And I don't know what my content is gonna look like in 10 years or in 5 years or whatever. I do hope that I become a big creator, like, let's say I show Speed or somebody like that, or Mr. or Charlie when it's critical. I would love to become a content creator like that. I don't know if that will ever happen, but I would be, that's kind of my dream, right? It would be pretty awesome. Now, yeah, that's about it. So yeah, guys, that was kind of my 200 subscriber special. I genuinely appreciate every one of you. You guys are friggin' awesome. Whoever says subscribe, it's and whoever's just watching my videos. I appreciate everybody who engages with my content. Even everybody who watches it. It's just a huge honor to have people watch your stuff and enjoy it, and I would say get inspired by it, stuff like that. So yeah, just a huge thank you to you guys. And I really do appreciate each subscriber. I really do check my analytics. And whenever I reach 200 subscribers, I remember I woke up and I literally gasped. I gasped and I jumped out of bed because I had reached 200 subscribers. So yeah. So thank you guys very much for watching. Remember to subscribe, obviously, right? Leave a like. If you enjoyed, leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy. And that's also something, by the way, I find very important, is that you should have the kind of humility to say that, to understand, not to say it's simply to put on a mask, but to really understand in yourself that a lot of people won't like your content and a lot of people will dislike it, and that's just okay because there are a lot of people in the world. And if you go if you had the ability to say anything to all people on planet Earth, and you said, let's say, whatever, there would be a number of people who would disagree. No matter what you say, you could say the sky is blue, somebody would say no, it's green. Or you're not sensitive to colorblind people, or you would say photosynthesis is real, and a lot of people would say no, it's not really. Simply whatever you do, there are going to be people who dislike it or don't agree with it or don't care. So I think the best thing is to just focus on people who do care. It's also important to focus on your content as content. Don't really take things too personally. Obviously, take positive things. I think positive things also you should not take too personally. Because everything online is just content, right? I mean, if the plug gets pulled, if the servers go down, it won't matter what some dude said to you 5 years ago. It really don't matter. So, yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.